Hello students, hope you all are doing well. Today we will learn about sampling and Fourier transform of sampled functions. In that, sampling, the Fourier transform of sampled function, the sampling theorem, aliasing, and function reconstruction from sampled data. So now Fourier transform of sampled functions. So sampling, so continuous functions have to be converted into a sequence of discrete values before they can be processed in a computer. So this is accomplished by using sampling and quantization. So with the reference of this figure, consider a continuous function ft that we wish to sample at uniform intervals del t of independent variable t. So we assume that the function extends from minus infinite to infinite with the respect to t. So here one way to model sampling is to multiply ft by a sampling function equal to a train to impulses del t units apart. So here tilde ft is equal to ft into s del t equal to epsilon limit is n is equal to minus infinite to infinite ft into del t minus n del t. So where ft denotes the sampled function, so each component of this summation is an impulse weighted by the value of ft at the location of impulse. So we can see as here in the figure, the value of each sample is then given by a strength of the weighted impulse which we obtain by integration. So here is the value of fk is equal to minus infinite to infinite ft into del t minus k del t is equal to fk del t. So now the Fourier transform of the sampled functions. So in that let f mu denote the Fourier transform of a continuous function ft. So the corresponding sampled function tilde ft is the product of ft and an impulse train. So we know from the convolution theorem that the Fourier transform of the product of two functions in the spatial domain in the convolution of the transform of two functions in the frequency domain. So the Fourier transform tilde f mu of the sampled function ft is f mu is equal to the function transform function of ft is equal to transform function of t s del t into t is equal to f mu star s mu. So here s mu is equal to 1 upon del t, limit is minus infinite to infinite del mu minus n upon del t. So in the frequency transform of impulse train s del t, in that we obtain the convolution of f mu and s mu directly. So f mu is equal to f mu into star s mu. The limit is minus infinite to infinite into ft into s mu minus t. So here we can integrate that 1 upon del t Fourier transform ft is equal to limit is n minus infinite to infinite del mu minus t minus n upon del t. So by solve this we can get 1 upon del t, limit is minus n is equal to minus infinite to infinite f mu n minus del t, where the final step follows from the shifting property of the impulse. So the simulation in the last line of this equation shows that the Fourier transform tilde f mu, the transformation of the original continuous function. So the separation between copies is determined by the value of 1 upon del t. So observe that although tilde ft is a sampled function, its transform f mu is a continuous because it consists of copies of f mu, which is a continuous function. So a band limit signal is a signal whose Fourier transform is 0 above a certain finite frequency. In other words, we can say that if the Fourier transform has a finite support, then the signal is said to be band limited. So an example of a band limited signal is sinusoid of the form xt is equal to sine 2 pi ft plus theta. So we can recover ft from its sampled version if we can isolate a copy of f mu from the periodic sequence of copies of this function contained in f mu. So the transmission of the sampled function is tilde ft. So recall from the discussion in the discussion that f mu is a continuous periodic function with the period 1 upon del t. So we need to complete the period to characterize the entire transform. That implies that we can recover ft from a single period by using inverse Fourier transform. So extracting tilde f mu, a single period that is equal of f mu, is possible if the separation between copies is sufficient. So in by this figure we can see here sufficient separation is guaranteed if 1 upon 2 del t is greater than of mu max. So here it is a oversampling. So we can say that 1 upon del t is greater than 2 mu maximum. So this equation indicates that a continuous band limited function can be recovered completely from a set of its samples if the samples are acquired at a rate exceeding twice the highest frequency content of the function. So this result is known as the sampling theorem. So we can say based on this result that no formation is lost if it is a continuous band limited function. So it is represented by the samples acquired at a rate greater than twice the highest frequency content of the function. So conversely we can say that the maximum frequency that can be captured by a sampling signal at a rate 1 upon del t is mu max is equal to 1 by 2 del t. So we can see here 1 upon del t is less than 2 mu maximum. So sampling at Nyquist rate sometimes it's sufficient for perfect function recovery. But there are some cases in this it is leads to difficulties. So the sampling theorem specifies that the sampling must exist in Nyquist rates. So now Nyquist-Shannon sampling theorem. So here we can recover ft from its sampled version if it can be isolate a copy of f mu. So this is we can see here how the recovery of f mu from tilde f mu is possible in this principle. So here if we can isolate a copy of f mu from the periodic sequence of copies of this function containing tilde f mu, the transform of a sample function tilde ft. So sufficient separation is guaranteed if 1 upon del t is greater than it of 2 mu max. So what is the sampling theorem? So the continuous band limited function can be recovered completely from a set of its samples if the samples are acquired at a rate existing twice the highest frequency content of the function. So we can see how the recovery of f mu from f mu is possible in this principle. So this function in figure B is defined by the equation higher than the Nyquist rate. So the function in 4.8b is ft is equal to minus theta to theta f mu e raised to j2 pi mu t d mu, right? So when multiplied by the periodic sequence of figure A, this function isolates the period centered on the origin. So here figure C shows the we obtain the f mu by multiplying tilde f mu by h mu. So here f mu is equal to h mu tilde f mu. So we can get, once we have f mu, we can recover ft by using the inverse Fourier transform. So ft is equal to minus infinite to infinite f mu e raised to j 2 pi mu t. So this figure is extending one period of the transform of a band limited function using an ideal low pass filter. So here in these equations, it is possible to recover the band limited function from the samples of the function obtained at a rate existing twice highest frequency content of the function. So the requirement that ft must be band limited implies in general that ft must extend from minus infinite to infinite. So a condition that cannot be met in practice. So as you will learn about, having to limit the duration of a function prevents recovery of the function except in some special cases. So here h mu is known as the low pass filter because it passes the frequencies at the low end of the frequency range. So it is also known as ideal low pass filter because it infinitely rapid quantities. So it is called as an ideal low pass. So here the range is between 0 and del t at location minus mu max, and the reverse is at plus mu maximum. So characteristic that cannot be achieved with physical electronic components. So now aliasing. So a logical question at this point is, what happens if a band limited function is sampled at a rate that is less than twice its highest frequency? So this corresponds to the undersampled case. So the inverse transform will yield a corrupted function. So this effect is known as a frequency aliasing or simply as a aliasing. So here figure A is the same as the figure here. So each which will illustrate the condition that the net effect of the lowering the sampling rate below the Nyquist rate is that the period now overlap and it becomes impossible to isolate a single period of the transform regardless of the filter used. So for instance, using the ideal low pass filter in figure B would result in the transform that is corrupted by frequencies from adjacent periods. So we can see that adjacent period in figure C. So it shows the inverse transform would then yield a corrupted function of t. So this whole effect caused by the undersampling a function, it is known as frequency aliasing or simply as a aliasing. So in words, aliasing is a process in which high frequency components of a continuous function which is masquerade as a lower frequency in the sampled function. So this consists with the common use the term alias, which means a false identity. So we accept for some special cases mentioned here. So aliasing always present in a sampled signal because even if the original sampled function is band limited, so infinite frequency components are introduced to the which will limit the duration of the function. So which we always have to do in the this process. For example, suppose that we want to limit the duration of a band limited function. In that function is ft to an interval, so the interval is 0 to t. So we can do this by multiplying ft by the function ht is equal to 1, where 0 is greater than equal to t, otherwise it will 0. So here we can see this figure. So it illustrates of aliasing the undersample function, which denotes as a black dots, looks like a sine wave having a frequency which is much lower than the frequency of the continuous signal. So the period of the sine wave is 2. So the zero crossing of the horizontal axis occur every second. So del t is the separation between the samples. So we can see here a classic illustration of aliasing. A pure sine wave extending here infinitely in both directions has a single frequency number, so it is band limited. Suppose that the sine wave in the figure has a equation sine mu t, right? So it has a horizontal axis corresponds to the time t in seconds. So the function crosses the axis at time t is equal to -1, 0, 1, 2, 3 up to that. So the period p of a sine mu t is 2 seconds and the frequency is 1 by p, or 1 by 2 cycles per second. Now function reconstruction recovery from the sample data. So we show that reconstruction of a function from a set of its samples reduces in practice to interpolating between the samples. So even the simple act of displaying an image requires reconstruction of the image from its samples by the display medium. So it is important to understand the fundamentals of sample data reconstruction. So convolution is central to developing this understanding. So we can say that the convolution theorem, we learned about that. So we can contain the equivalent result in the spatial domain. So this equation f mu is equal to h mu into tilde f mu. So it follows that here ft is equal to transform functions inverse f mu is equal to transform functions inverse h mu into tilde f mu, which is equal to ht in star ft. So here the last step follows the convolution theorem. It can be shown that substituting these two, so here we can get spatial domain expression of for ft. Ft is equal to limit is n is equal to minus infinite to infinite f and del t sin c in t minus n del t upon n del t. So where the sin c function is defined, that this result is not unexpected because the inverse Fourier transform of the box filter h mu is a sin c function. So here this equation shows that perfectly reconstructed function is an infinite sum of sin c functions weighted by the sample values, and has the important property that the reconstructed function is identically equal to the sample values at multiple integer increments of del t. So for any t is equal to k del t, so there k is an integer, ft is equal to kth sample, means f into k del t. Thank you.